Welcome to day 41, the Sorrowful Mysteries, and the presentation Novena. And today, what I want to focus on in the presentation, we know that it's about Jesus being presented at the temple. We know that there's the seers who can see into the future, about the sword piercing her heart. And so it's a mystery that kind of has everything in it. Um, the joyous, the sorrowful, and the glorious, all wrapped into one. And how I want to present it today and use a movement practice to play with it is, how do I show up, or how do any of us show up in the world today and really honor and own our heart's desire? How can we do that? Even though we know that we're going to run into sorrowful things, we're going to run into difficulties. How do we keep showing up? So, how I'm going to play with that today, because I'm inspired from my earlier day, is we're going to play with some principles from movement. We're going to play with dimensions. So we've got a vertical dimension up and down. We've got the horizontal that goes onto the side to side. And then we have the sagittal that goes forward and back. And then we're going to play with something called the kinesphere, which is essentially like a bubble around your body and how you extend and reach into space. So you can imagine perhaps your heart's desire as we begin to move some of these qualities. So the first quality we'll play with is that vertical dimension of sinking and rising into the earth, so we really can feel that groundedness and our connection to the sky, but just that length. And so some days we may have difficulty in this dimension and really showing up for ourselves. But how can we feel, for instance, that we have this length between our head and our tail? And how can we really feel that fluid length? It's not a stick. It has fluidity. You can imagine fluidity in these things, or you can imagine a column of fluid rising up and sinking down, lengthening or shortening. So you can feel into these qualities in your body of, how do I show up? Do I kind of scrunch myself down? Or can I really feel that I'm in the ground and then I could rise if I need to? So that's the first dimension that you can play with. How do I show up? How do I own my heart's desire? And then the second one is just that side to side, where we can just narrow in, or we can really be wide, or we can just narrow in to the core of our body, or widen out and feel what that's like. Go from side to side. And how do I show up here? Do I play it safe and be in a little bit of a small space? Or can I really own that opening and closing of the side to side, of that horizontal dimension, And I'm probably getting a little more fancy in the exploration, but these are different ways that you can play with it in your own body. How do I show up? And how do I own and live into my heart's desire? And then the next one is that sagittal, going forward, going back. So we can think culturally that a lot of times it's all about action, action going forward. But sometimes we need that reflective space of going back. So, how do we show up every day? Can we give ourselves time to really embrace our heart's desire and present it out? Or can we give ourselves time to then just reflect and just lean back into that and really take a bigger view and take time away from the action? So just playing with that, what's it like, the forward and back? Because often we think two steps back is a bad thing, but actually, two steps back can be the best thing that you can do. So there's no judgment in where you might feel a preference, but how do I show up? How do I show up in this forward and back? How do I present myself? How do I own my heart's desire? Now, this is getting a little more advanced now. There's a lot more material in here, but now I'm going to just take you into what we call the kinesphere, which is we have our core, but from the kinesphere is all around our body. And how do I show up and I'm able to reach in all these diagonals? This is where those lines show up is diagonals through the body. So, how do I show up? Can I really come into my core, really feel my core? What's my heart's desire? How do I nourish myself? And then, how do I really reach out and show up to the world, show up and present my heart's desire out here? So, you can play this with this in multiple ways. You could just stabilize one side of your body and feel how much you can reach all around you in space. Or you can just come into your core and start small. Sometimes, with our heart's desire, we just need to be in this very intimate space, very close to the body. We're not ready to bring it out here, but when, of course, Mary brought the baby to the temple, she was really full on bringing that baby out, even though she was holding it close to her body, I'm sure. But there was an extending out of here he is, right? So when we are in our heart's desire, do we need to keep it close for a while, or are we ready to really bring it out into the world and really expand and extend it in these multi directions? And so that's a way that you could play with your own body, with your heart's desire, with this reflection on the presentation novena. Thank you very much. I hope some of this was useful. Many blessings to you.